All right, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mr. Jagu, or Mr. J. Today I'm going to be working with Danny, Tom, Dante, and Ian. And our group is going to be presenting on caffeine. This lesson is targeted for 9th grade students, but it can be altered and adjusted to work with students in middle school or upper high school levels. And yeah, so it's a pretty good lesson we got for you today, so let's get right into it. All right, so before we start the lesson on caffeine, we're going to get into the objectives for today. So the objectives are what we want our students to meet after the lesson. And these objectives are based off of the content knowledge that the students have from prior lessons and where they are in the unit. So our first objective is that students will be able to define caffeine and provide 3 side effects that caffeine can have on the body. Our next objective for today is identify and list ways that caffeine affects your mental and your physical health. And lastly, we want the students to be able to create a list of pros and cons that the use of caffeine has on the body. All right, so now that we got our objectives listed and out of the way, we're going to get right into the lesson. So we're going to start with a do now, and this is just going to be a gauge for me to see the students' baseline knowledge, your baseline knowledge of what you know about caffeine before today's lesson starts, so I can see what we already know, what we need to learn more about, what you guys think that may or may not be true. So to start that, I'm going to go around the room and call on people. If you think you know something or you have something you want to add to the do now, just please raise your hand, and I'll call on you. And then I'm going to write it up on the board, and then as we get into the lesson later on, we'll find out whether or not they're true or not. All right, so who can tell me one thing that they know about caffeine? Anybody? All right, you in the back, Ivy.
Mr. Jagu, I heard that caffeine makes you hyper.
All right, there you go, Ivy. That's a good one. I'll put that up on the board and start our list. All right. Does anyone else have anything for me? What do we got? Someone's got something. I know you guys all know about caffeine. All right, you, Ashley, what do you got?
Mr. Jagu, I heard that caffeine affects the chemicals in your brain.
All right, good one, Ashley. I'm going to put that up here and add it to the list. All right, does anyone else have anything for me? Greg, what do you got back there?
Well, Mr. Jagu, it was told to me that my father, when he was young, didn't have a lot of money. So the whole family lived on bread, coffee, whatever they can catch. And he drank a ton of coffee from the morning to the night. They didn't have soda, they didn't have anything like that. And his whole family, his brothers and the sister, 6 of them, were all short. And it's interesting because all of their kids were at least 6 to 7 inches taller than them. So I think caffeine stunted their growth.
Yeah, Greg, that's actually a great point. And I think just to summarize that down, I think you finalized by saying that caffeine stunts your growth. So I'll just put that up here on our list. All right, good job. All right, so as a start, I think that's really good. I can tell that from our list so far, I can tell that you guys do know a lot about caffeine already. But there's definitely a lot that we didn't get to touch on yet. So throughout the lesson, hopefully you guys will pick up some more key information about caffeine and how it may be good or bad. Also, we'll find out if each of these 3 things that we have up here in our list from Ardino, we'll find out if each of these 3 things are true or false, and we'll dig deep into why not they may not be true. But all in all, that's a good start, and yeah, this should be a good lesson.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ms. Velasquez, and today I will be teaching you about the effects of caffeine on your body. I first wanted to start off with our objectives. The first 2 that I will be teaching are that the student will be able to identify the effects caffeine has on the body, specifically in each system in the body, is what we have here. And the second objective will be that students will be able to analyze the suggested intake of caffeine and establish the amount it takes for caffeine overdose. I wanted to first start off by saying that many individuals, including myself, start the day off with a cup of coffee or a jolt of caffeine in the afternoon just to get through the day. Well, the U.S. Federal Drug Administration states that 80% of U.S. adults take some form of caffeine every day. However, caffeine has many more effects on the body than just specifically keeping the individual awake. Because caffeine is a central nervous system stimulant, it affects your body in numerous ways. So knowing the symptoms of caffeine and its long-term effects makes you triple, quadruple check the amount of times that you want to have that 4th cup of coffee. Okay, so as you see here, we have the body, and it's a bunch of different systems are involved in the body. So we're going to start with the central nervous system, which is up in the head. So first, I'd like to say that caffeine obviously gives you an alert brain, and that's why most of us start the day off with caffeine. We like to feel that stimulating effect of being alert, and sometimes it relieves even drowsiness. But then we go over here to confusion, and even though most people don't think that caffeine can confuse you, too much can overstimulate the brain, and you can get confused very easily and mix up your words in a sentence. So then we move over to headaches. Headaches can occur from either too much caffeine or a symptom of caffeine withdrawal. And most people, like my mom, gets a lot of headaches from too much caffeine. So right here we have irritability. So if your body gets too used to caffeine, you can actually experience irritability as a symptom of withdrawal. And for our second to the last one, we have decreased suicide risk, and that's really exciting. You know, people don't really mix caffeine with a decreased risk of suicide. So a study actually found that the mood enhancing effect of caffeine was linked to a 45% lower risk of suicide in participants, excuse me. And then over here for our last top one, we have decreased risk of oral cancer. Drinking 4 or more 8-ounce cups of caffeine coffee may actually lower your risk for oral and throat cancers. So that's also an exciting fact. So then over here we have a rapid heart rate. This is kind of normal. Everyone really knows this stat. Once you drink your coffee in the morning, you start feeling like really anxious and moving around and everything. That's a normal one. And sometimes it also can be a concern, especially if you have pre-existing heart issues. And then since we're sticking with the heart, you can also get heartburn. So this is from the acidity of certain caffeinated drinks. Depends on how much caffeine, such as coffee and soda. This can cause some form of heartburn if you have too much. And you can also get muscle aches. So sometimes you may feel achy, and this is caused by a sign of caffeine withdrawal. So this is just when you want more. 2 common ones that most people see as well are nausea and vomiting and diarrhea. So with nausea and vomiting, they're symptoms of having too much caffeine. So you can feel just very sick if you have too much. And diarrhea, caffeine sometimes makes people regulate better with pooping, but too much can have the opposite effects like diarrhea instead of regulating it. So two that people may not know about are fertility issues and pregnancy issues. So if you are trying to get pregnant, you might experience difficulties getting pregnant if you consume too much caffeine. So it is recommended that you only consume no more than 300 milligrams per day. And this goes along with pregnancy issues. So overconsumptions of caffeine during pregnancy may cause a miscarriage and developmental issues in the newborn. So staying on that, consuming no more than 300 milligrams per day would be most recommended. And here we have caffeine in the bones. Caffeine prevents calcium absorption, so this can lead to osteoporosis, and as you get older, your bones just may break easily if you consume a lot of caffeine. Here we have the increased urination. So when you drink coffee, you may realize that you have to go to the bathroom more often, versus a small than a large. You may go to the bathroom 3 times with a large and once with a small. This is bad because long-term use of high amounts of caffeine may increase to bladder instability and worsen the risk for those already experiencing bladder problems. Over here we have increased blood pressure, and caffeine can temporarily raise your blood pressure. The effects may be especially noticeable if you have caffeine during or right before exercise or other physical activity, And our last one here is the jitters. This is a normal one that most people already know about, is that if you're not used to it though, caffeine can give you the jitters. And if you have anxiety disorders or sleep disorders, caffeine may just worsen it. So if you have any of those disorders, caffeine might not be the right choice for you. So I mentioned in the beginning about caffeine overdose, and caffeine is a stimulant found in various foods, drinks, and other products. So it's commonly used to keep you awake and alert. Caffeine is technically a drug, whoever didn't know that. Some of the most popular beverages in the United States, such as coffee, tea, soda, they all contain significant amounts of caffeine. According to the Mayo Clinic, the recommended amount of caffeine is up to 400 milligrams per day for healthy adults. Caffeine overdose may occur if you ingest more than this amount. Adolescents should limit themselves to no more than 100 milligrams of caffeine per day, and pregnant women should limit their daily intake to less than 200 milligrams of caffeine per day, since the effects of caffeine on the baby are not fully known. Caffeine overdose symptoms occur with this condition. Some symptoms may not immediately alert you that you've had too much caffeine because this may not seem serious. For example, you may experience dizziness, diarrhea, increased thirst, insomnia, headache, fever, irritability. To prevent caffeine overdose, avoid consuming excessive amounts of caffeine. In most cases, you shouldn't have more than 400 milligrams of caffeine per day, and even less if you're particularly sensitive to caffeine. So that was pretty much my entire lesson on the health effects on your body. And so I just want to make sure that we all know that the effects in each system and what caffeine overdose is and how we can prevent that. Thank you. Bye.
Hello students, this is Mr. Newman coming live from South Carolina. Today I will be talking about our caffeine lesson. I will be covering 3 topics throughout the lesson. First topic is types of caffeinated drinks. Second topic will be why people use these caffeinated drinks. And the third topic will be a little personal story about how caffeine consumption affected my life a few years ago. So, number 1, types of caffeinated drinks. So, first one we have tonight is a cup of coffee. This is I believe, 10-ounce cup. There's 8 fluid ounces of coffee in here. Those 8 fluid ounces has about 163 milligrams of caffeine inside of it. Our second item tonight is Starbucks Double Shot Energy with coffee added. So this is a 15-ounce can and it has 145 milligrams of coffee in it. Our third topic tonight is everybody's favorite Coca-Cola soda. This is a 12-ounce fluid can. It has 34 milligrams of caffeine inside of it. The fourth one we have tonight is Red Bull Energy, just a regular old basic Red Bull. This is an 8.4 fluid ounce can. This has about, I believe, 80 milligrams of caffeine inside of it. That's right, 80 milligrams. Some other things that I don't have here with me on site, but I do have topics for you, is Lipton iced tea, which is a 8 fluid ounce can. It has about 55 milligrams in it. Monster energy drink, which is a 16 fluid ounce can. It has about 160 milligrams of caffeine inside of it. We have some Bang energy drinks for anybody who works out. Those are 16 ounce cans and they have 300 milligrams of caffeine in it. Those are used predominantly before working out. The next two I have are also workout supplements and energy drinks called pre-workout. We have C4 pre-workout, which is a 1 scoop. That's like their nutritional fact is 1 scoop, and it has 150 milligrams of caffeine in it. Amino Energy, which is a 2 scoops actually, and it has 100 milligrams of caffeine in it. Topic number 2. Why do people use caffeinated drinks? The number one reason I would say people use caffeinated drinks is for waking up in the morning. Everybody needs that nice morning cup of joe to get out of bed. And for those of you who don't need it, kudos to you, because I want to know your secret. I will say personally that I need my coffee every morning. I'm not afraid to say that I need that. I'm very irritable if I'm not, which goes right into the second topic, is why people need caffeinated drinks. And I would say is addiction. It is classified as a substance, so you can be addicted to it. I will say that I probably am, like most people are addicted to caffeine. We all need it, or at least we think we need it. And it helps us get us through the day, it helps us wake up in the morning, it helps us with our third topic, daily pick-me-up. Everybody gets that little, nice afternoon lull where they feel like drained and they need that little pick-me-up. So, what's the first thing you do? You grab an energy drink, coffee, soda. You get that nice little burst of caffeine to help you get through the rest of the day. I know that personally I like to use it, especially in the afternoon if I'm teaching, substituting out of school. I like to go during my lunch to grab a coffee real fast to help me get through the rest of the day. So going in to the next thing is people who work overnights. This is number 4. People who work night shifts, like nurses, police officers, firefighters, people who stock shelves in grocery stores, anybody like factory workers, people who work in the docks down in like Elizabeth, those places, they might need caffeine all night to help them stay up on it for their shift. I have a brother-in-law who is a police officer in Yonkers, New York, and he actually told me how he has a nice route that every 2 hours he stops at another Dunkin' for a cup of coffee to help him get through the night. Because there's just some of those nights where not even enough sleep during the day can get you through it. Our fifth topic for why people need caffeinated drinks would be taste. I know I love the taste of coffee, black or with cream. I don't do sugar because it's already sweet enough with the cream. Some people like to load it up with cream, sugar, and make it like a nice little candy liquid beverage. Whatever floats your boat, whatever gets you through the day, you do you. But taste is definitely another one why people like caffeine, and like caffeine drinks. People like taste of energy drinks like Red Bull, soda, coffee, all those things. Another thing I would say is workout supplements. I work out about, I would say, every day of the week. Maybe not one, maybe Sundays I take off, and I usually just a little run. But workout supplements, bodybuilders, people who are doing competitions, people who are just average people like me, like going to the gym, we need like a little boost when we're getting there. We like take supplements. I take C4 workout. I usually take 2 scoops, which comes you around 300 milligrams of caffeine. It's a great boost. It helps you out a lot. So that's another reason why people might take caffeinated drinks. This is also a great segment into my personal story of how caffeine consumption affected my life. There was at one point in time when I first started going to the gym, and I was drinking a cup of coffee in the morning. I had another cup of coffee in the afternoon. And then after work, I would go to the gym and take my 2 scoops of pre-workout. And by the end of the night, I'd be laying in bed just sitting there with my eyes wide open like, why can't I fall asleep? Why do I feel so weird? Why do I get jittery all of a sudden late at night? And then, without even thinking or processing, eventually I figured, wait a minute, it's probably the 2 cups of coffee and the pre-workout I'm taking every day with all this caffeine. I'm probably going well over, I was going well over 400 milligrams of coffee. So I decided that this cannot go on anymore because I needed to get rest at night. I can't be a insomniac. I need to go to sleep and get my work done so I can go to work the next day and not feel like a lug. So I cut back my coffee intake to 1 cup in the morning, and I cut back my supplement intake, so I try to do just 1 scoop now. It has, it's a little rough, but it gets me through the day and it helps me not be able to just sit there all night staring at my ceiling wondering when I'm going to finally fall asleep. So that is my spiel. I hope you learned today. Remember, we covered types of caffeinated drinks, why people drink them, and my little personal story how caffeine affected me, and I had to cut back my caffeine intake and make sure that I was staying healthy. I wasn't affecting anything in the long run or long term. So remember that caffeine is a stimulant, and that we need to take it serious. It's not something to joke around with. People can get hurt or have long-term effects due to it. So remember how much caffeine you're intaking, because almost everything drink-wise, like sodas, juice, all that stuff might have a little bit of caffeine in it. So you just have to remember that. And if you are someone who needs to watch out on your caffeine intake, you need to know these facts. You need to make sure you're monitoring your how much caffeine is going into your system, and it's not something to take lightly. So, hope you learned today. I hope you enjoyed the view, even though it's a little dark outside now, but have a great rest of the day.
Good morning, class. My name is Mr. Laval, and I'll be continuing on with the caffeine lesson. As you heard from my other teachers and peers, how important caffeine is and what it does to your body, along with other causes, we'll be taking that information that was given to you in the videos, taken from the lesson plan, the textbook, and we'll be using it in an activity with the agree or disagree. For this activity, students will get out of their seats and will be asked a series of 9 questions. They will move to the left side of the room if they believe the statement is true, and move to the right side if they believe the statement is false. Hopefully you're paying attention to everyone else speaking, because this information you should already have heard of. Let's begin with the first one. Caffeine is the most common stimulant. The answer to this is agree. If you agreed, it's because caffeine is a mild stimulant that is often abused. The reason why caffeine is often abused is because it's hard to control the intake of it, because it comes with coffee, tea, chocolate, soda, so it's hard to actually count how much caffeine you're taking in. Number 2, caffeine is absorbed into the bloodstream. Again, the answer to this would be to agree. Caffeine is absorbed into the bloodstream and it reaches peak blood level in about 30 to 60 minutes. Number 3, caffeine decreases your energy and distracts your mental alertness. The answer to this is disagree. Caffeine pretty much does the exact opposite. It increases your energy, increases your mental alertness, and yeah. And number 4, caffeine is most commonly found in tea, soft drinks, and coffee. Again, this is true. Caffeine is most frequently consumed in coffee, followed by soft drinks, and then tea. Caffeine is also in other drinks and other foods. Another food, for example, would be chocolate. Number 5, caffeine can't be fatal. This is a tricky question, but the answer would be disagree. Caffeine can be fatal. People seek a caffeine high, and a caffeine high would be about 10 grams of caffeine, which would be lethal because that's considered about 30 cups of coffee. Seeing a caffeine death is also very uncommon and very rare because it's just not too strong. And again, you'd have to take about 30 cups of coffee in one day to get to the level of caffeine. Number 6, caffeine provides nutritional value. The answer to this is disagree. Caffeine has no nutritional value to your body. Although caffeine pills caffeine is also used in medication, but it has no taste, so you never know. Caffeine is used to help boost energy, your alertness, and other symptoms. Number 7, extra caffeine gets stored in your body. The answer to this is disagree. It's false. Caffeine is processed in the liver and exits through your urine. Number 8, some symptoms of caffeine withdrawal are headaches and migraines, fatigue, lack of concentration, anxiety, and heart rate abnormalities. This is also true. These are only a few of the symptoms, but there are many more out there. Many more we talked about as well in prior videos. Lastly, number 9. Caffeine speeds up the nervous system, making a person jittery or hyperactive. Like we talked about, this is true. This is giving a person energy, and this is because of the energy that the person's intaking from the caffeine. This also causes difficulty sleeping. Those were the series of 9 questions on the agree or disagree. I hope you guys did well on them because the information was already given to you. Now, after you do the caffeine activity, where you have to guess the amount of caffeine in each drink, we're going to be evaluating you guys. Students are going to be evaluated based on the 2 activities that we planned. We're going to ask that you guys write down 5 pros and 5 cons for caffeine. After you do so, please just write them down and hold on to them, and we will be collecting them. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, I'm Mr. Capurso, and I'm here doing some caffeine activities with you guys. All right, so first activity we're going to do is I want all you guys to get in groups of no more than 4 or 5 people, and I want you guys to have some discussion, talk about pros and cons to caffeine. We're going to give you guys a couple minutes, and we're going to bring it back, and I want you guys to tell us some what you got, all right? Okay, we're back. I think I've given all the groups an ample amount of time to come up with the pros and cons. So, anybody want to share what they got?
Me.
We got a me over here. We got me. What is your name?
Dorian Capurso.
We got Dorian Capurso. She wants to share her thoughts, all right? Okay, Dorian's group. Let's hear what you guys have.
Okay, Ivana's gonna read the pros first.
It gives you energy, it tastes good, very accessible, and alertness.
Nice, great job. Let's hear about the cons now.
Okay, some of the cons are it's bad for your health, withdrawal after use, it interferes with your sleep, and it bubbles your stomach and makes you very gassy. Also, I put that both pro and con, it makes you hyper.
That's a great point. That's a great point, Dorian, and your group. Thank you guys very much.
You're welcome.
Back to that point about hyper being a pro and a con. It really, it depends how you view being hyper. Because too hyper, get a little tired after, then that's a con. But if you need to be hyper right now for a short period of time, it would be a pro.
Hey, Mr. Purcell, I have a question.
Yes, Dorian, what's your question?
Ultimately, do you think caffeine is good or bad for you?
Well, Dorian, to answer your question, I think that anything is good in moderation. But when you start having too much caffeine, it can lead to health problems down the line. And that is definitely something you want to avoid.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to go to our second activity. This is, you guys are working on your own for this one. This is an activity about, I'm going to name different types of drinks, and I want you guys, I'm going to give you the size of the drink and the name of the drink, and I want you guys to guess how many milligrams of caffeine are in that drink. Okay, for the first drink, we're going to go with a can of Coca-Cola, 12 ounces. How many milligrams of caffeine do you guys think are in that can?
I
Are we
put
done?
23 milligrams.
23 milligrams. Ivana, let's see what you
I
have.
put 35 milligrams.
35 milligrams. All right. Okay, the actual number of milligrams of caffeine in a can of Coca-Cola is 34 milligrams. Ivana had 35. She is the closest. She is the winner for round 1 of this activity. Okay, and second drink, we have Dunkin' Donuts brewed coffee, 14 ounces.
What do you say 14 ounces is?
It's 2 ounces more than a can of soda.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see what you guys got. Dorian, what do you have?
I have 81 milligrams.
81 milligrams. Ivana, let's see what you have.
78 milligrams.
78 milligrams. All right. The actual number of milligrams in a 14-ounce Dunkin' Donuts brewed coffee is 210 milligrams of caffeine.
Oh my God!
Oh my God is right. You guys have no idea how much of that caffeine you're putting into your bodies when you're drinking a regular sized coffee. Okay, the third drink I'm gonna have you guys do is how many milligrams of caffeine do you guys think are in a Monster energy drink? 1 can of Monster energy drink.
How many ounces?
16 ounces. Dorian, you have an answer for me?
I put 150 milligrams.
150 milligrams, Dorian says. Ivana, how about you?
180 milligrams.
180 milligrams. Great, great. The actual answer for Monster Energy drink is 160 milligrams. So, yeah, who would have thought that a Monster would have less caffeine than a regular coffee at Dunkin' Donuts? The fourth drink that we are doing here for our caffeine activity is McDonald's sweet tea. Sweet dollar tea from McDonald's. 32 ounces. Let's see what you guys have.
And that's
for
like
me.
a large cup?
Yeah, it's like a sweet tea cup. Large cup. 32 ounces.
Sweet tea, that shouldn't be a lot. That's a big cup.
Ivana, what do you have? All right, Dorian, let's see what you got first.
I put 100 milligrams.
100 milligrams for Dorian. Let's see, Ivana.
93 milligrams.
93 milligrams. All right. The actual number is Dorian's exact answer. 100 milligrams of caffeine are in a sweet dollar tea from McDonald's. I like that. Oh, good. And finally, our last drink that we're going to discuss here is a 5-hour energy shot, which is 2 ounces. It's only 2 ounces.
This definitely has to be a lot. Let me see. I'm going to guess a big number.
Okay. Okay, Dorian, let's see what you got for 5-hour energy.
200 milligrams.
200 milligrams. Ivana?
I put 284 milligrams.
284 milligrams. All right. The actual answer for 5-hour energy, 2 ounces, 200 milligrams. Dorian hit it on the head again. The winner of this activity is Dorian. She hit 2 of the answers right in the head. I hope that we were able to show you guys what you're actually putting into your bodies when you're drinking these highly caffeinated drinks, and I hope you can make better choices because of it. Thank you.